Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Dynamics 365 Tech Talk. Today's topic is What's New in Dynamics 365 Supply Chain Management, Wave 1, 2024. My name is Ashley Desiongco, and I will be your moderator today. Presenting for us today from Microsoft, we have Nicole Joyce, Senior FastTrack Solution Architect. Nicole, over to you.
Thanks, Ashley, and welcome, everyone. So as is customary for all of our Tech Talks, we'll begin with a riddle to get your brains working. So our riddle today is brought to you by Copilot, and it is, what kind of mountain can you not climb? So if you think you've got it, you can put your guess in the chat and we'll reveal the answer to the riddle at the end of the presentation. So our agenda for today's session is going to include how to keep up with new features. Then we'll review the new features that were released in this Wave 1 2024. We will also then talk about the features that have been deprecated in this wave, as well as Ashley mentioned some time for Q&A at the end. So I recently attended a customer feedback event, and we heard that both our customers and our partners are really struggling to efficiently and effectively keep up with the new features that we release for the platform. So we try to bridge that gap with sessions just like this one. So let's review how to keep up with our new features. So for anyone who isn't familiar, we'll do a quick recap of the framework that is used to release new features. So there are two main waves of features each year, with Wave 1 covering versions that are generally available between April and September. And then Wave 2 covers the versions that are generally available from October to March. So you can see in bold, we're in that Wave 1 timeframe now. So this reflects that high-level planning cycle that our product teams use to release new features and functionality. So within those two waves, there are a total of 4 versions released each year. So it used to be 7, but we have actually removed 3 of the monthly service updates. So starting with this wave, we have also introduced more flexibility in scheduling the updates. So customers can now select an auto update window of your choice. With the 10.0 39 release, that's the first one in this wave, customers can choose from 2 auto update windows that are 4 weeks apart for each service update. So that enables organizations to select the update window that best accommodates the validation processes and your operational schedules. And in line with those reduced service updates, we have changed the allowable number of updates which can be paused from 3 down to 1. So these changes with the reduced service updates and allowable pauses took effect at the beginning of this calendar year 2024. So let's take a look at the full timeline for this wave. So the first major release, as I mentioned, was 10.0.39, and that has been generally available since March 15th. And then next, we just had the general availability release last week of 10.0.40. So that's the monthly service update in between the 2 major wave updates. So that means the next one we have will actually be Wave 2, and that will be the 10.0.41, which will be in preview next month in July, but will not be generally available until around mid-September. So the service update availability documentation, the link you see at the bottom of the slide, is updated with the changes that we've discussed on the previous slide. So please bookmark this resource and visit it often. So what other resources are available to help you keep up with what's new? First, we have the release plans. They are linked in this slide. So when we publish the deck with the recording, you'll be able to click on all of the links. So the release plans are published at the beginning of each wave, and they detail the features and the modules to be added for each product in that wave. They are maintained throughout the wave to reflect updates, so they are kind of a living document. And we recommend that you look at them in conjunction with our release planner tool, which is going to allow you to track individual features that you are interested in within that release plan. And I actually want to take a moment to show that release planner tool. So you can go to releaseplans.microsoft.com. We will publish the link to this release planner tool in the chat as well. But you can see the way that it's formatted is that on the left-hand side, you can drill down into the specific product that you are looking for, and also includes Power Platform. You can see I've highlighted here Dynamics Supply Chain Management, because that's what we're talking about here today. And then you will have a view on the right-hand side of the features that are planned, ones that are coming soon, and then ones that are already available for you to try now. And they are broken out into the 4 parts of the application, are module areas. So if I open up the procurement, I see the feature for approve POs and requisitions from a mobile device. If I expand this particular feature further, I can get a detailed description on it, perhaps even some photos and some information about the timeline of when this is going to be available. So I can do a couple of things from this release planner tool, including sharing a link, maybe to a coworker or somebody who might be interested in this feature directly, or I can add it to my individual plan. So if I do that, at the top of the form, you can see that the default view is all release plans, but you can also have your own release plan where you are only tracking the features that you are interested in. So this is really powerful, right? Because it allows you to kind of drown out some of the noise and only track the things that are relevant to you and your business. So again, great tool, this release planner to use in conjunction with those long release plan documents that we release with each major wave. So after the release plans and the release planner tool, we also have the what's new or changed documentation. So with each individual version, each service update that's released in preview, we also have the corresponding what's new or changed article that is published on the Learn site. So this is for every product, including all of our Dynamics products and Power Platform products. So these articles list the features and have links to the updated documentation on how to use those new features. Also have blogs that are published, and these you can find on the Dynamics community site. So these may recap the wave plans or major features that are going to be released. So this is another good resource to keep an eye on. You may also see the team post the links to the blog posts on LinkedIn as well. So that will give you an idea, especially of some major preview programs or features that are coming. And then finally, our FastTrack team produces Tech Talks, which are often deep dives on new features or summary recaps of what is included in each wave with the product, such as the session that you're in right now. So these are great forums to join live, ask questions, or just track them, watch the recordings later on to catch up on what's new. All right, so now that we have covered some of the resources for keeping up with what's new, let's check out some of the highlights from this latest release. So here at Microsoft, we are focused on 2 main pillars, the first of which is Copilot in AI innovation. We know that AI is a technology that's disrupting business as we know it. So we are committed to not only embracing AI, but delivering leading innovations to shift the way the world works. But the second pillar is fundamentals. So we also understand that we can't just build cool technology on an unstable foundation. So we will continue to invest in making the core product secure, stable, and reliable. So I'll start here by briefly highlighting a few of the Copilot features that are in Dynamics 365 supply chain management. And I will mention a caveat that this is by no means a comprehensive list of our Copilot features. This area is changing rapidly, and we have some additional tech talks that we've published just on the Copilot capabilities. So we will include a link to that recent tech talk in the chat if you're interested in the features beyond what I'm going to talk about here. So the first one I will mention is the empower users with conversational product help and guidance. So now with Copilot and our innovative in-product AI-based contextual help, users can quickly find the information that they need in their natural language and rapidly unlock the full potential of Dynamics 365 supply chain management. You can see in the screenshot the Copilot sidecar experience where a user has asked Copilot to walk them through a typical workflow for managing supply chain in Dynamics. Next, we have enable efficient, accurate demand planning with Copilot. So now with Copilot, demand planners can use natural language to explore insights, trends, anomalies, and other factors that affect demand across dimensions. So you can see in this screenshot of the new demand planning app that Copilot is providing insights on the 5 largest shifts that contributed to the change in demand for the data point in the graph that is highlighted. That's the gray bar. So demand planning is integrated to pull in your Dynamics 365 supply chain management data, but it can be connected to other data sources as well. And then we have the generate context-aware insights for warehouse workers. So our warehouse mobile application now includes a home screen that leverages advanced generative AI technology to provide warehouse workers with a personalized overview of their workday. So you can see in the screenshot that there's a quick overview of the open work that needs to be completed in the warehouse, which is broken out by type of work. You can also see how many users are working on that shift that day, and some location and volume insights so that the user knows what to expect. So now we'll shift from Copilot and AI innovation into talking about those fundamentals. So let's start with the inventory and logistics area. And I want to highlight here our supply chain traceability functionality. So this has been in private preview, but it is slated to go into public preview on July 15th. So supply chain traceability in Dynamics 365 supply chain management lets you collect business and industry-specific data across the product value chain, which can be used for regulation audits and compliance processes. But beyond compliance, the supply chain traceability functionality also enables companies to meet a wide range of business objectives, including efficiency, resilience, responsiveness, and sustainability. So supply chain traceability follows products and goods as they move through the supply chain, and it provides accurate tracking, as-built BOM registration, forward and backward search, and simplified integration to external systems. You can see in the screenshot the graphical view of the selected serialized products genealogy. When you drill through and view the details of a given node in the tree, you'll see the activities in the sidecar on the right. So for example, here we're seeing that this serial number was produced, reserved on a sales order, and then picked and shipped. Next, for our fundamentals, we'll move to the manufacturing and asset management area. So related to that supply chain traceability functionality, we have introduced a track and trace feature in this manufacturing and asset management area. So Dynamics 365 supply chain management now provides an effective, accurate, and performant process for tracking serial and batch numbers of components and finished goods. So supply chain management lets shop floor users work effectively by scanning barcodes with serial and batch numbers, and then lets supervisors view and edit the tracking details. This allows manufacturers to track components used in production and link them to finished goods, as well as generate production orders with quantities exceeding 1 unit for serialized items, integrate tracking with job management, and to track from within the production floor execution interface, or the PFE, or from within the UI. So you can see the production floor execution interface screenshot here. And I will note that the track and trace feature utilizes the supply chain traceability service. So just note that both must be enabled if you would like to use this track and trace feature. The next feature I'll highlight is in the procurement area, and it is our new procurement app for approving purchase requisitions and purchase orders. So for businesses that use approval workflows to ensure that their requisitions and purchase orders are valid, in budget, and in line with their business practices and standards, they can now enable users to respond to approval workflow tasks from their mobile devices. The mobile app provides an overview of the user's approval tasks and allows them to drill into the details and then choose between the approval options configured for the workflow. So you can see in the screenshot that we are looking at purchase requisitions, and you can see the actions that we have at the bottom for approving, rejecting, requesting a change, or delegating this item. So this is the latest mobile app that we've released on the modern platform. It is a power app, and that is after we deprecated the old mobile app framework in Dynamics 365. So switching to production information management, I want to talk about our advanced export control functionality, which has also been in preview for some time, but is now generally available. So Dynamics 365 supply chain management lets you manage, track, and verify compliance with export control restrictions before confirming, packing, shipping, and invoicing your sales orders. This is important for companies that trade internationally and are subject to regulations and policies which must be managed. The system lets you manage export control policies using a native Microsoft Dataverse solution that interfaces directly with your supply chain management instance. So supply chain management then enforces compliance with international trade regulations by consulting your export control policies in real time. The Dataverse-based architecture means that many of the other systems you use can also access your export control rules thanks to the hundreds of connectors available for Dataverse. The solution can also be extended by using the rich features in the Power Platform, allowing you to support complex scenarios by using formulas like those in Microsoft Excel through the use of our Power FX functionality. And this screenshot is showing how you can check the export control rules from within the sales order form. And finally, within our fundamentals, I want to talk about our warehouse-only mode solution, which is now also generally available as of the 10.0.40 release. So regardless of which ordering or ERP systems you have in place, you can now rapidly deploy our advanced WMS without having to set up or maintain areas of the supply chain management application that you don't need. So you'll then be ready to benefit from some of the advanced WMS features such as automation integration, carrier integration, the warehouse management mobile app, and much more. The supply chain management WMS functionality integrates with external ERP and ordering systems by exchanging new, lightweight source documents dedicated to inbound and outbound shipment orders, replacing multiple types of previously used documents. These orders can also be linked to support cross-docking scenarios. And the integration processes have been enhanced to enable near real-time on-hand inventory reconciliation between external solutions and supply chain management by importing the product master data. And the product master data imports are easy to view, schedule, and run using the available message processor. So if you've ever wanted to deploy a standalone WMS to support your business scenarios, please check out this solution. We do also have a dedicated tech talk we have done on the warehouse management only mode solution. We can drop that link in the chat as well. So we love to highlight our new features, of course, but we don't always do a great job of bringing attention to the features that we are sunsetting. So I want to spend some time discussing the features that we are deprecating in this wave. So first, we have the service-based authentication method for the warehouse mobile app. So what is it? This is the current authentication method for the warehouse mobile devices. And why are we deprecating it? It's really for improved security. So those service-based authentication methods are the client secret or the certificate that you may use to authenticate the device to your Dynamics 365 instance today. So what do you do next? You would switch to our new user-based authentication methods, and we will be enforcing this in a new major version of the Warehouse mobile app, which is slated to come out around July 15th of this year. So we will have a 3.0 major version released for the Warehouse mobile app, which will enforce this change. So you will no longer be able to authenticate the devices on that version with the old service-based methods, the client secret or the certificate. You would have to now utilize the new user-based authentication methods with the device code or the username and password. And again, we have extensive documentation and a recent tech talk where we have talked about this change as well. We can also provide that information to you. And then next, we have the load planning workbench form. So this also happens to be related to warehouse management. So what is it? It is the combined load planning workbench form. It's the one that's kind of always been in the solution. And why are we deprecating it? For performance. So the combined form had both purchase orders and sales and transfer order tabs where you could manage inbound and outbound loads from that same workbench, but it was not very performant. So we have split out the forms into the inbound load planning workbench and the outbound load planning workbench to increase the performance there. So that is your next step, is to start using those split forms if you utilize this in your business process. So as of this wave, actually with 10.0.39, we have hidden this combined load planning workbench form. If for some reason this deprecation has caught you off guard when you update to 10.0.39, you still have the opportunity right now to re-enable this old form through a flight. But please let us know if you need to do that, because it will be a short-term solution. We would still expect you to move to the split forms because we will be deprecating all the artifacts, within a certain period of time. But for now, if for some reason you have customized this form or you just have not moved your process to the new forms, we can re-enable it with a flight. So the link at the bottom of this slide is to the Learn article for the removed or deprecated features. So this is where you can track these announcements. So as you're reviewing those release plans that we talked about earlier for each new wave, it's a good idea to also reference this article. You want to ensure that you're not only planning for how to incorporate those new features, but also how to transition away from the deprecated features. So especially if you have customizations that are dependent on some of these things. All right. So I think I've spent enough time talking. I will turn it over to Ashley to see if we have any questions in the chat that we can address.
Thanks, Nicole. Yeah, we have a couple. The first one is, does the PO mobile app support attachments?
Let me bring this back up. That is a great question. And offhand, I do not have an answer for whether or not you can add an attachment from the mobile app. If the question is specifically about capturing an image and creating that as an attachment against the requisition or purchase order, I think we will need to follow up on that. I would say start with, we can drop the link that is in the deck that explains this new mobile app. We can put that in the chat. I would start there, but I don't have an answer offhand on whether or not we actually support that.
Okay, thanks, Nicole. Yeah, I did drop the link in reply to that question. And in the screenshots of the Learn site, I do see a tab for attachments. But as Nicole mentioned, yes, it's not, if the question is more about what happens to those attachments, yeah, we'll have to follow up on that. Okay, the next one is related to warehouse-only mode. So in warehouse-only mode, can we still calculate rates and use routes?
This is a great question. So it's really asking, does warehouse-only mode work with TMS? The question is yes and no. As we mentioned, the warehouse-only mode no longer utilizes the source documents of like purchase orders or sales or transfer orders. It's utilizing the new inbound shipment order and outbound shipment order, which do not have any financial updates. So you could still put an inbound or outbound shipment order on a load, perhaps, and you could route that. But as far as rating is concerned, you could also get a rate for the load. But what you would not be able to do is like apportion a freight charge back to the order lines, because those are now the inbound and outbound shipment orders, which do not have any financial updates. That's part of this standalone WMS, right? And those new source documents is that they are only handling, right, the warehouse operations, those inventory transactions, and not any of the financials. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. All right, the next question. What enhancements have we included for the requisition process? Can a user search for a catalog item and submit via the mobile app, similar to other ERP solutions?
I believe if we're looking at this mobile application here for the purchase requisitions and the purchase orders, it's not necessarily a lookup functionality. It is really for the workflow approvals, right? So only the tasks that you would be able to do in that approval process are going to show up on here, as well as the ones that are actually assigned to you for that approval, right? So all we're really doing is surfacing those approval workflows within Dynamics on the mobile application. And again, we had an older version of this, right? Or it was an option, at least with the Dynamics mobile app framework. We deprecated that whole framework. So what we've been doing over the last probably couple of years now is moving some of those mobile app, processes that we had into this new modern platform with the Power Apps. So it's not really an enhancement of this process necessarily as much as it is just an upgrade on the platform that is hosting the application. So it's really just for the approval test.
Great. Thanks, Nicole. The next question. So the Copilot for the warehouse management app, giving insights on the impending work and load. Is it available in all geographies now? I understand it was limited to the USA only.
That is a great question. Yes, I believe if you look at the documentation, it does still say that the geography is US only for now. But this will be rolling out to all geos within the, calendar year, I believe is the plan.
Okay, thanks. We actually have two questions that are related to this. So jumping back to that purchase approval mobile app, will we be able to modify that app through Power Apps?
That's a great question. I'm not sure whether the like standard solution we're providing, this Power App is actually extensible. That is something we would have to get answered and come back on. Offhand, I don't know if we allow that on top of the just kind of core solution we provided here.
Yeah, I'm also not finding any direct answer to that question. So yes, we can follow up on that. All right. The next question, for the new export control capabilities, does it replace or supplement existing controls like dual use in forbidden countries?
I would really say this is an enhancement of anything we had in the core product previously, right? This used to be kind of a gap area where if you had to manage these, export restrictions, denied party screenings, things like that, you probably had to go find an ISV solution. And now with some of this core export control capability in the system, you should not need, right, necessarily to go to some of those third-party solutions any longer, unless you still have complex scenarios, perhaps, or other functionality that you would need in addition to this. But as we mentioned, this is also extensible because it's a Dataverse solution where it's checking those compliance rules. So there's no reason that you can't extend it as well. So I would say it's really, it kind of plugged a gap we had in the standard business application.
Okay, thanks, Nicole. Another question. This is related to the track and trace capability. Could you please confirm that it does manage serial number traceability with production orders of quantity greater than 1?
Yes. Yeah, we did call that out. And so that's a great catch and a great question. Yes, you can create a production order with quantity greater than 1 for a serialized item with the track and trace. I will also say, just as kind of a sidebar, of course, this is a great solution for the tracking of the serialized items throughout the supply chain. But within the system, right, if you're using this production floor execution interface, and if you're using the advanced warehouse management capabilities as well to move your serialized items around the warehouse, as long as you are now utilizing the updated warehouse inventory transactions framework, the kind of underlying work transaction framework that we have recently updated in the warehouse management space, you can now essentially track those serialized items in physical inventory. That used to really not be a recommendation, right? Because of the performance of the system with each of those individual like serialized transactions in the back end. But now with that warehouse inventory transactions framework, that is much more performant, even if you are tracking serials in your physical inventory and then producing them and moving them around and then tracing them, right, with this capability. So I would say all of those things really are complementary to one another.
Yeah, that's great. And I'll paste a link to that warehouse-specific inventory transactions, because if you haven't heard of it, it's highly recommended you check it out, especially like Nicole said, if you are moving serialized items around the warehouse. All right, we just have one last question. So for the traceability feature, does this consider all transactions of one item? For example, purchase orders, sales orders, quality orders, etc.?
Yes, and also I will say not only Dynamics 365 transactions of that item, right? So of course, we have a kind of a native connection to the supply chain management application for supply chain traceability to capture that information, but you can also connect it to data from other external systems, right? So maybe carrier systems or 3PLs or whatever it might be, where you really need that holistic kind of end-to-end supply chain visibility into that product movement. So that's really what it's meant for. But yes, absolutely, anywhere that it's being transacted within Dynamics, you would have that data exposed to the supply chain traceability app.
That's awesome. Okay. That is all the questions we have. There is one answer to the riddle. Unfortunately,
great.
It's not correct, but good try.
Well, we will reveal the answer here. So thanks for all the great questions. And I will advance us to the answer for the riddle. So as a reminder of what the question was, it was, what kind of a mountain can you not climb? And as you can see from our photo here, the answer is a mountain of laundry. So if you don't think the riddle is funny, you can blame AI because I asked Copilot for that. All right, so I will turn it back to Ashley to wrap up our session today.
So I posted a short survey in the Q&A panel, as we'd love to hear your feedback on today's session and what you would like to see in future events. Thank you to our presenters and to you, our audience, for attending our Tech Talk today. We hope you have a great rest of the day ahead.